What in tarnation?
Hi there, folks, this is Apple Geek. Another Saturday, another new episode. Season 6, Episode 14, The Cart Before the Ponies. Just real quickly, I am sorry for those of you who are first watchers that this is getting posted a little bit late. Unfortunately, I had a family event today that ran much longer than I expected, and I got home late. So next week is going to be a similar thing. I'm going to be kind of on the late side getting my reaction posted, but it's just I have things going on, and that's all I can do. But anyway, on to the episode. Cart Before the Ponies. I have seen the synopsis of this, so I know, generally speaking, that it's a Cutie Mark Crusader episode. I know there's some sort of a race involved here, and I know that their big sisters are in the picture, and possibly messing things up for the CMCs. Beyond that, I really not sure what this is going to be about. Is this actually going to be a Cutie Mark Crusader episode, or is it going to be focused more on the big sisters? Are Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon going to be involved at all? I would love to see that. Don't know if we're there yet or not. But it is kind of interesting for a couple reasons. This is the first CMC episode since On Your Marks, where they kind of figured out that that they're kind of transitioning from the whole finding your cutie marks to like, well, what do we do now that we've got our marks type of thing. So I'm curious to see where they take that mentality in this episode, or if that's even going to be relevant in this one or not. Is this an adventure episode or more of a slice of life episode? I'm not really sure. Also of interest is the fact that this is the first episode since Sleepless in Ponyville, where we've got all three of the CMC and their big sisters together. So yeah, just be interesting to see what the story has for us here. So without further ado, Cart Before the Ponies, starting now. Volume up. In school, okay.
Morning, every pony. I hope you brought your thinking caps,
I
because
see
today we're going to learn about
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Physics.
Physics.
Specifically, the
Okay.
use of force in energy conversions. In this case, using
Really?
mechanical work to convert potential energy
Okay.
into kinetic energy.
We have an actual science class in here.
Miss Cheerily? That sounds a bit over our heads.
Just
Why would
just
we
a little.
even need to know that stuff?
Oh, it's very important. In fact, you'll most likely end up using it tomorrow.
Tomorrow? What for?
Because.
Why? For participating in the Applewood Derby.
Nice. Woohoo!
Oh, phew. For a second, I thought we were gonna have to, learn stuff.
Oh, Snips and Snails. Okay, so they have speaking lines. Wonder how many of these fillies and colts are going to actually be in focus in this episode. Well, I know that if you remember that the CMC built a pretty awesome float for that parade back in the Bab Seed episode. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they come up with for the carts.
We get to race in the Applewood Derby tomorrow? That's so cool! My family's talked about it for years, and now I'm finally old enough to race.
Now hold on to your horseshoes, every
Ed
pony.
Valentine and
You've got
Michael
a lot
Vogel.
of work to do before you're ready to race.
Yeah, but
This could be a good
non-schoolwork,
episode.
right?
There'll be a block of applewood just like this one waiting for you at Sweet Apple Acres tomorrow, and you've got one day
Okay.
to turn it into a race-ready cart.
Nice blueprints.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
That is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
You two have done more. You three have done more in less time.
To help you, but choose wisely, because they'll also have to ride in the cart with you during the race.
I think I know just the pony to ask. Me too.
Rainbow
Wait,
and yep, the sisters. Okay.
Just remember, every pony, your cart has to be able to finish the race if you want to win one of the awards.
Jar.
Fastest for winning the race, naturally. Most traditional for the best working replica of an original Applewood cart. And most creative for the cart with the best overall design.
Interesting.
Wait, those ribbons are the bee's knees.
All right, then, class. You've got a lot to learn if you want to build a race cart.
Oh, I knew there was gonna be a catch.
Oh, snips and snails.
Wow, have you seen what the carts used to look like in the olden days?
Ooh, what do they look like?
Yeah, I know all about them. When Ponyville started the Derby,
Interesting.
they decided to use the wood from our apple trees for the carts. The race has been a part of Sweet Apple Acres ever since. I just
Awesome.
think these old carts look so cool. But I guess you and Applejack will probably win the award for most traditional, huh?
Oh.
Yes, usually do, but honestly, I'd rather build the fastest cart there is and win the
I was
race.
just gonna say, but Sweetie Belle's gonna go traditional, but no, I'm sure it's gonna be apples.
But I'm pretty sure
they're all about
Scooter
tradition.
will take that award. You know, I race around so much on
And
my scooter. Being the fastest
obviously,
isn't such a
Scootaloo
big
is gonna
deal.
be
Maybe
fastest.
I'll try to make the wildest
And
looking
with
cart I can
Rarity,
think of.
yeah,
Really?
okay.
Sure. If I win most creative, you can totally win the award for fastest. And I can win the award for most traditional. Sounds like we're all gonna try something different. I can't wait to tell Applejack. Let's get to it.
Interesting.
Are you kidding?
So they're trying this role switching again.
I want you to have as much fun as I did when I was a filly.
Wait.
They tried that back in season 1, didn't work so well. We'll see how well it works this time.
Practically every town in Equestria has one.
I still remember racing my cloud cart.
Cloud car. Ooh, this ought to be good.
It's so awesome!
Whoa!
And let me guess.
The Mario Kart
You won
memes.
fastest cart. Obviously.
Obviously.
So, what do you say? Will you help me make my race cart?
Help you? I'm all over it.
Of
I've
course.
got tons of ideas.
Don't worry. I've got a lot of
What has she got in that trunk?
ideas of my own. Where do you
That banner was back from her birthiversary, by the way.
Of course. I'll have to change it a little because this race is on roads, not on clouds. But trust me, your cart is gonna be amazing.
Okay, Rainbow Dash, thanks. How awesome is this? With Dash on my team, how could anything go wrong?
Yes, how could it go wrong?
Want to work with your big sis on your cart. I mean, the Applewood Derby did
Start on our farm. I know.
well. I couldn't be more proud to help my little sister take the prize for most traditional.
Actually, I was kind of thinking of something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like fastest?
Fastest? Apple Bloom, things aren't like they were in the old days. The fastest cart now has got to be slick and modern.
Exactly.
And not Apple at all. The Apples win most traditional. We have since the Derby started.
Okay.
Why would Pony want to win anything else? Now, why don't you head off and get some chamomile vines, some hickory sticks, and some apple barrels, and I'll show you what an apple family cart should look like.
I guess I do have a family tradition to uphold.
Yeah, so they were wanting to switch roles, but the sisters are kind of coercing them back into
Wow.
their
Rarity,
expected
I didn't know you'd be
roles.
this excited.
Me? Oh, well, I'm just itching to right an old wrong from long, long ago.
Oh boy.
I designed my own cart when I was just a filly, and I was positive I was going to win the prize for most creative hooves down.
Wow.
But I came in second.
Oh,
Second for most creative? To whom?
just the worst thing ever!
But I learned a valuable lesson. I learned to know my audience, and the race cart audience.
Derpy has best cart.
Chop, chop, every pony out. Well, we've got work to do.
Derpy for the win. I just...
Considerable skills.
I'm sorry, Rarity, but
But
you
I
can't argue with
the
Derpy.
biggest and boldest derby cart to ever win the prize for most creative.
Actually, I was sort of thinking of something more traditional.
No. No.
Please, darling, leave tradition to the apples. We're doing big, we're doing bold.
Ooh!
Soon the prize for most creative will finally be in my hooves.
You mean
Yes, that's what I said. My hooves. Darling, I hope you're ready to get an early start tomorrow.
Yep.
How early?
Yes, indeed. How early? Oh, they're tired.
Rarity, the sun's not even up yet.
Oh, apples, quit complaining. In my day, we were up even early.
Hey, I get up in the middle of the night if it means my cart crosses that finish line first and wins best.
I believe that.
And my cart wins most creative.
And my cart wins most traditional.
It's not your carts, it's their carts.
Good day.
You mean our carts, right?
Yes, thank you.
That's what we said, darling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our carts. Their carts? It almost sounds like they're planning on building them without us. I'm sure they meant our.
They probably would.
Like the teen cart, right? Of course. I mean, they're all our older sisters. Practically. Plus, they've all done this
Practically.
before. I'm sure they know best. Let's just buckle down and get to work.
Nice attitude. Is that Snill's dad? Okay. I gotta go back and look at that later.
Where have you been? I've only got till noon to make the fastest cart ever. About that, I was really thinking of going for the most creative prize. I mean, I know all about speed already, so...
Exactly. It's all about speed. We've got to get across the finish line to win a prize, so we might as well get there first, right? Hey, I left a bunch of paint cans by the road. Bring them up here, would you? Nothing as fun as painting racing stripes on the winning cart.
Right. Fine.
So, are they going to be able to turn this around? That's my question.
Well, this is just terrific. How can I help?
You can feast your eyes on this. I mean, it ain't quite finished yet,
Oh, good.
but don't it have the makings of the best cart you ever did see?
Very traditional.
Is something wrong, Apple Bloom?
Do you have to ask?
Actually, I was kind of thinking of something a little more modern and less rickety. With maybe a chance of winning.
Bless my
Aw,
hooves, I
that
thought we covered
face.
this. Tradition is all that counts. And who knows tradition better than apples? No, Pony. That's who. So, are you an apple or are you an apple?
Oh.
I'm an apple, but-
Ouch.
What if I just...
Ouch.
No, not the branch! Why, shoot! Now I've got to start all over from scratch. And it's almost race time.
Oh, so maybe we can redesign it then. Just a little.
No time! And who'd want to redesign something that's already perfect?
Right. Perfect. Okay,
So
I
are-
sketched out some of my ideas. How about a nice yellow fringe on top?
Are the CMCs gonna actually drive each other's carts then? Or something?
And that yellow is the least bold color I can imagine.
Well, it doesn't have to be yellow, but I really do love the old-timey style. Like this.
Nice.
Belle, precious face. Old-timey is just another word for passé. Remember big and bold.
Of course.
I do have a reputation.
I do like
for
seeing
bold.
Sweetie Belle using her magic
Everyone
more,
thinks
by the
to
way.
lose as a filly, but can you imagine if I didn't win the most creative now? Ponies might stop buying my couture.
But we're supposed to be doing this together.
Yeah, because this is all about you, Rarity.
Darling.
See,
In
I
fact, we just finished.
somewhat can expect this of Rarity,
I
but
know.
the other...
You're
No, they... All three of these older sisters really do have ego issues, actually. Wow.
Right. Wonderful.
That cart. Sparkly! What? Really? Scoodaloo, why? Why? Stop feeding the meme! Stop feeding the meme! I give up. Ouch. That must be a magical paint roller because it did multiple colors at once. You gotta give them points for trying. I mean, they are trying their hardest to change this. Hey,
Crusader. How's it going? Rarity's definitely made the biggest, boldest cart any pony's ever seen.
True.
Wow. Well, Applejack's built something so traditional, it's practically an antique. No matter what I say, there's no talking Rainbow Dash out of making the fastest cart in Equestria.
Yeah, of course not.
Doesn't look like any of us ended up with what we wanted. But I'm sure our older sisters know what they're doing. Right? Right,
No.
right.
No.
And even if our carts aren't exactly what we had in mind, it'll still be fun to drive them to the finish line. Sure, the race is the best part. Yeah.
Looking for the positive. I like this.
Yeah.
Derby racers to the starting line! Derby
Darn it.
racers to the starting
I
line!
had hoped that they were gonna try and
About to start, Scootaloo.
switch cards.
Better shake a leg if you want to ride in the winning cart!
You too, Sweetie Belle. There's only one seat left aboard this creative masterpiece, and it's just for you. Woo!
That
Whoa!
cart.
Wait for me! This traditional cart handles at the exact perfect pace. Slow. And
It even moves slower.
Passenger seat.
Whoa, what? Oh, okay, now you just crossed the line. You are not supposed to be driving.
Only older ponies driving. First they built the carts, now they're gonna drive them?
I feel like I just
know they
missed
were
something
always
there.
trying to help, but I don't think they're really helping anymore. We better hurry if we want to be a part of this race at all.
So, that outfit.
Aren't you all missing some pony?
They'll be along.
And, usually the younger ponies drive the carts?
Yes, thank you, Miss Cheerly.
Do these look like usual carts to you?
Okay. Interesting position for a seat.
Racers, on your marks, get set, go!
It's a rather terrifying position for Sweetie Belle. Why are you screaming?
Don't be silly.
Screaming in frustration instead of terror. There's not even any point of the helmet for her.
Check me out, racing the derby.
A song!
My old-fashioned cart. Check me out, racing the derby in my original work of art.
Check me out, faster than ever. There's no pony can catch me now. Let me out, I'd do it over. If I only knew how.
I like this song. Oh, minuets. Is that Rainbow Shine? Lyra Bunman?
My cart's the most original,
That
designed with a
cheerleader outfit Cheerly is wearing is
traditional. Ain't no
looks like something from ages ago. Come on, Dash. Don't be like that.
Having any fun yet? Nope.
Nope.
Maybe if we could go a little faster.
Is that Derpy? Both biceps. The beer hat on. That was Derpy! Yes! Wait, is Derpy gonna win again? Ponies are walking fast. Who's the Is that Derpy and Dinky? I couldn't quite see. Wow. That's an interesting track. Oh! I was wondering about that. Oh.
Oh, my beautiful swan cart is an ugly duckling.
And my old-time cart is a rootin' tootin' rat.
It still counts as a win if I push my cart across, right?
Right.
They're not your cars!
Thank you! Thank you!
Huh? We were supposed to design them. And we were supposed to drive them. The derby was supposed to be for us, not the three of you. Now you've ruined it for every pony.
Mm-hmm. What's down here and there?
Yes, well, I suppose we might have gotten a teensy bit carried away.
But I thought you all wanted our help.
Just a little bit.
We wanted your help to build our carts, but we all ended up with carts that are what each of you wanted. Mm-hmm. Well, why didn't you say anything? You've all done the race before. I just figured you knew best. Plus, it's hard to speak up to older ponies.
They were saying things the whole damn time.
But you mustn't think older ponies automatically know best.
And we probably could have done a better job of listening to you.
Yes, thank you.
Guess we owe all three of you an apology.
Maybe not just us.
Yeah, try everybody or every pony. Oh boy.
How do you feel about a do-over? I think that's a wonderful idea. But maybe the older pony should sit this one out.
Okay, so we actually get to do.
Carts. Pretty creative.
Wow.
I
An
know it's
eagle.
not traditional, but it sure looks fast, don't it? You know, darling, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that yellow fringe is rather bold after all.
Wow.
Thanks, every pony. We couldn't have done
Dang. You already made that look good. Oh, and Scootaloo is no longer a chicken. She has graduated to eagle status.
Agreed to run the race over again.
Well, it isn't every year I get to say this twice, but Derby racers to the starting line! Derby racers to the starting line!
Alright, what do we got this time? Oh, none of the older ponies. Okay.
On your marks,
This is the way it should be.
go!
And it's probably best keeping all the grown-ups on the sidelines.
Yep.
What are we supposed to do now?
Cheer on your sisters.
I have an idea. Much better.
Really?
See, I'm not sure why
Really?
we had to race those cards in the first place. Seriously. This is the most relaxed
Wait,
I've been
Why does Applejack have, like, trooper sunglasses on? Is Applebloom gonna win that? I love the engine sounds that are non-existent.
I mean, this is the life. Right, ponies?
Why? Why did you not show who won? Because that wasn't the point of the episode. That wasn't the moral. It was... Okay, well, that was a fun episode. Yeah, I'm very frustrated right now that we didn't actually get to see who won the ribbons. I mean, just, come on. I'm sure they skipped that because it wasn't the point, but it feels like an incomplete story. You know, after all that work, I wanted to see who actually pulled it off, but whatever. I will be right back. I want to watch this again, and I'm sure there's cameos and things in there that I missed, so I need to review, and I will be right back. Okay, well, that was a fun episode. Definitely not the best episode of the season, but far from the worst as well. Was rather predictable. That kind of drug it down a little bit, but not as bad as I thought it might, because there was still enough bits in there that I was kind of surprised about and whatever, that it was still a fun watch. It really wasn't a CMC episode per se. I mean, it really didn't have anything to do with their, crusading and anything like that. It was really, the focus was more on their big sisters as the problem. It was actually kind of a slice of life type episode. It was interesting how the CMCs were trying to this role reversal thing again, or role shifting, or whatever you want to call it. I kind of had bad flashbacks there to back to the Showstoppers, all the way back in season 1, because they tried to switch roles there, trying to do things that, they weren't necessarily good at, but that other ponies wouldn't expect them to do, rather than sticking to what they were good at, and it really didn't turn out that well. So I was a little leery of where this was going on that, but here their idea was actually, pretty decent, because it was more about the design of the cards, trying something different. It really wouldn't have been that big of a deal, especially if they got their sisters helping out and such. But they didn't even get a chance, at least at first, to try the different things, because their sisters just ran over them on everything. Man, those three all have ego issues, it seems like. I know a lot of people are probably saying that Rarity, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash were really out of character in this episode. I sort of agree, but only to a point. Let me see if I can explain this. In terms of them, wanting to, push their own ideas in the design, I mean, I find that actually understandable. Rarity especially, because she's got very particular tastes and, ideas about what's stylish, what's popular, etc. I can certainly see her not wanting to dwell on something, an old antique design. She wants the latest, newest fashion trends and things like that. So I can understand that. Applejack and the Apple family, they have, a tendency to follow a lot of family traditions and such. So, that's understandable about wanting to hold to tradition. And of course, Rainbow Dash, being the, the speedy flyer that she is. I mean, she's always been about, being first, being number one, being the fastest, etc. Those are all perfectly understandable, mentalities. So I don't, from that perspective, I don't really think it was that bad. Where it started to go off track a little bit for me was the fact that they were so insistent on these designs that they just absolutely refused to listen to what their younger sisters were trying to tell them, even though they were constantly trying to change the design and whatever. They weren't getting it. They weren't willing to see past their own ideas. But then, I'm even willing to let that slide a little bit, because I understand it's a reasonable, plot thing to tell the moral of the story. The parts that really bugged me were, there's one for each of them. For Applejack, it was the insinuation that Apple Bloom, if Apple Bloom refused to, honor the tradition of using the old traditional style cart, that she wasn't really going to be an apple if she didn't hold the tradition. That's really harsh. That was uncalled for, in my opinion. And then for Rainbow Dash and Rarity, they were actually like practically cheating during the race. Rainbow Dash was bumping other racers off the track, and Rarity had those giant wings that would flop down and prevent other racers from passing her. I mean, come on, really? And then for that matter, they insisted on driving the carts too. I'm like, look at all the other participants in the race. Are any of their elder siblings or parents or whoever, you know, they had with them driving. No, it was all the fillies and colts driving. That should give you somewhat of a clue. Also, the evil eye from Cheerly should have given you a clue. Cheerly was awesome in this episode, I gotta say. I mean, she was actually, like, you know, kind of, I mean, in her own way. I mean, she didn't really chew anyone out, but, you know, she was giving them those looks and, you know, and hints and strong hints and whatever that's like, hey, don't you think you should be doing this and whatever. So, kind of, you know, standing up, trying to stand up a little bit for what's right. At least I wish she would have put her hoof down and told them, get out, don't, you know, let your sisters drive. But whatever. But no, she was awesome. And the cheerleader uniform win. Epic win there. Cheerly in a cheerleader uniform. What could be better? So yeah, there definitely was a little bit of, you know, out of character stuff going on there, you know, with the cheating and Applejack's idea of what is an apple and what isn't. I felt like those bits could have been done without in this. You know, the story still would have been fine without going that far. But whatever. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. So the awards. The awards were really interesting. Actually, before I get onto that, I'm just going to wrap up the moral thing right here. So, you know, again, really, it's kind of some more role reversal in this, in that the Cutie Mark Crusaders ended up being the ones to teach their older sisters a lesson, you know, instead of the other way around. You know, they finally, you know, after the crash, had enough. They put their hooves down and said, you know, hey, this was about us. This was for us. We were supposed to design the carts. You know, we were supposed to race. You were supposed to be there to support us and help us, not run the whole thing as if it was your own contest. So, you know, they kind of got pie in the face in the end and had to, you know, sheepishly admit that, you know, they were wrong and, you know, they asked for a do-over. And given that there was no way to have any real winners with that mass crash, why not? Yeah, let's do it over again. But I'm just wondering how long it actually took them to make those carts. But more on that in a second. As far as the award system goes, I actually really like that. I really don't like scenarios where it's like everybody's a winner, because that's just not realistic of life itself. You know, I don't want to get too deep into philosophical stuff here, but you know, there needs to be, you know, winners and non-winners, because you know, there needs to be, you know, reward for, you know, doing your hardest and achieving the best result. And, you know, that also encourages people who don't win to, hey, try harder next time, and maybe you'll win next time. You know, that certainly held true with Rarity. She didn't get first place, you know, back when she was a filly, and she was bound and determined to try and do better next time and win this time. Unfortunately, she did it at the expense of Sweetie Belle. But anyway, but I like the fact that they had the 3 awards for different categories. You had the fastest racer, and then you had the most creative design and the most traditional. You know, it's kind of honoring all aspects of the race, because, you know, typically races are who finishes first. Okay, fine. But, you know, there's artistic value in these carts. It's like, well, hey, who's got the most creative design? That's worth celebrating. And also, you know, again, tradition isn't necessarily a bad thing. So why not honor the traditions and on the history of the Applewood Derby by, you know, giving an award to most original or most traditional cart, you know, honoring the way where it started out at. So it all makes sense. But yeah, Derpy beating Rarity in the creative department. Wow. That was one of the best scenes in this episode, just flat out. I mean, poor Rarity, I mean, that look on her face of just sheer shock or horror or whatever, and then crying or whatever. I was like, oh, man. That was harsh, but at the same time, like, I feel sorry for Rarity, but how can I be sad about Derpy winning? Oh, that was good. And Philly Derpy! I'm not sure if we've actually seen Philly Derpy before or not. The only place I can think of where we might have seen her at that age is back in that flashback scene in Pinkie Pride, I think it was. But I didn't actually take time to go back and look for that if it was there. But yeah, it's a rare sight to be sure. So that was awesome. Anyway, yeah, just moving on to the carts themselves. I just want to talk about this for a little bit. Wow, they really did not get a whole lot of time, you know, just basically a few hours to take a giant solid block of wood and somehow carve it out and create a cart out of it. And it didn't even look like they had any form of power tools. It was like hand saws and whatnot. That's some quick work. I don't know, sometimes I feel like the tools they use must be enchanted though, because yeah, they saw it and carved awfully quick. I mean, and the paint brushes. Apple Bloom painted multicolored flames with one swipe of the brush, and then Applejack came and, you know, paint rollered right back over it, over to the old colors, just in the perfect, you know, like multiple colors and perfectly aligned, and sure, why not? And I love how the carts just magically moved on their own, even on, you know, they're stopped on a flat surface, and then they just start moving, not even going down a hill. Okay, sure. The fake race car engine sounds were a nice touch. Oh, and another oddball thing. After the second round of you know, building the carts, Applejack, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash were, like, you know, in the coveralls and whatever, and basically covered from head to hoof in, like, oily, greasy stuff. How? The carts are made out of wood. Even if you get, you know, like, you grease up, like, the axles or something, you can't possibly get that much grease on you. I know, cartoon logic, it shouldn't matter, but it just... whatever. I gotta move on from that, or I'm just gonna get more steamed about that. But the cart designs themselves were pretty interesting. Specifically focusing on the last ones, well... No, I gotta go back and talk about the chicken cart. Scootaloo! Why? Why? You are the one who is always, like, so offended about being called a chicken. Why would you do that to yourself, dressing up your cart like a chicken? Oh, that just didn't. I'm gonna call that an out of character moment. That Scootaloo should never have willingly done that. I just no. But unless she didn't mean it to look like a chicken, maybe she meant it to look like the. Well, I said earlier as eagle. I think it was actually supposed to be more like a phoenix given the coloring. So I'm gonna go with phoenix. Maybe she intended it to look like a phoenix, but because she was just making it on her own, it came out looking more like a chicken. I don't know, but thankfully that design got demolished and redone. So yeah, the final race carts, they're interesting. The Apple Blooms was more like your more like an actual race car look of, like, what era would that have been? I want to say like 1920s-ish, somewhere in there, teens, 20s, like very early race cars. Look like that, but I love the touches of, like, the you know, the spoiler, the sides of the spoiler look like leaves from apples, and then the wheels themselves look like slices of apple. Like if you just, you know, cut an apple crossways is like a slice. Very nice touch on that. I already touched on, you know, the Phoenix design for Scootaloo, very awesome. And then yeah, the traditional stuff. See, I thought from the beginning it was like I can understand Rarity's hesitance on, doing something old-fashioned looking like that. At the same time, with Rarity's, some taste in style, I was sure that she'd be able to, dress up the cart, the traditional style cart, very nice. And I was, as you saw my reaction, I was actually blown away by how awesome it looked. I mean, it exceeded even my expectations. So that was really cool. But some of the other carts were interesting too. Diamond Tiara. I really wish we would have gotten some actual Diamond Tiara dialogue in this. I really want to see more of her character. Because with this, I'm a little confused and a little worried, actually. I feel like she's not quite out of her old ways yet, because she had her butler helping her with this cart. Well, then again, her mother certainly wouldn't stoop to that level of, physical labor, whatever, I'm guessing. And her dad probably is too busy out making business deals or something to help out, so I guess the butler it is. But of course, she makes the cart looking like a big old, limousine or something. Of course, why not, Then the one that I found the most interesting, Snips. First of all, to back up a little bit, we saw Snips's, I'm assuming it's his dad, as helping him build the cart. Could have been an older brother, I guess, but I'm going to go with his dad. Had a really, interesting looking, mustache and beard thing going on, a hairdo. And then I realized that the cart looked like a barber pole. Okay, dad with fancy, fancy mane cut. Snips himself has a pair of scissors for Cutie Mark, and he's driving a cart made like a barber pole. Apparently, this is a family of barbers in Ponyville. Okay, that's canon. Sure. It's just interesting. I feel like that kind of came out of nowhere. Maybe there's been other references to him being a barber or something like that in the past, but or being in a family of barbers or something. But I wonder what Snails' story is. Speaking of Snails, where the heck was he? He even had speaking lines in the beginning of the episode, and then I didn't see him for the rest of the episode. I would have assumed that all the students were racing, so I don't know, maybe he got sick or something. But it was the very next day, so I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that was just an interesting thing with that cart design. Oh yeah, and I don't know where that pony was with Derpy. It wasn't Dinky, obviously, because it was a Pegasus, and the hair color is wrong. But I'm not even sure if it was a filly or a colt. I noticed in one scene when I was looking back through it, the snout actually, or the muzzle actually looked like more squarish or something. So I'm almost wondering if it was a colt. But I have no idea who that was. Looks like a new character to me. I'd be curious to know if the fandom has already given that one a name. Probably. I'm sure headcanons are, firing off everywhere because, like, oh, now there's a new young filly or colt with Derpy that's not Dinky. So is this a relation now or something? I'm sure there's going to be fanfics and whatever, but anyway, and yes, I have to mention the song that came out of nowhere. I feel like there was a very long lead-in to that song that it just felt like instrumental background music. And then all of a sudden Applejack started singing. I'm like, wow, where did that come from? And it was a fantastic song. Very catchy. I cannot wait to hear remixes of this one. Also, this was a first, because this was actually the first song with all three pairs of sisters singing together in it. Well, sort of singing together. You know what I mean. So that's a little bit of a first there. Man, season 6, and we're still doing firsts on certain things. This is great. Yeah, I think I pretty much... Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over one thing in my notes here. One thing that occurred to me is that... I was chatting with somebody about this. there's some a potential complaint about the fact that, at least for Rarity, that this has kind of been this lesson has kind of been learned before, namely in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Tolls. But I'm gonna say no, not really, because in that episode, the problem was actually with Sweetie Belle, not with Rarity. Rarity was actually that she wasn't trying to steal the spotlight away from Sweetie Belle. She was actually just doing her best to try and help Sweetie Belle in various situations. You know, she made fantastic outfits for the play. She, you know, tried to keep things going smoothly at that birthday party when Sweetie Belle was absent, and so on and so forth. And Sweetie Belle misunderstood what Rarity was trying to do, what her intentions were. But Rarity was you know, doing right, and it was a misunderstanding. In this situation, Rarity actually was intentionally more or less stealing the spotlight away from Sweetie Belle in her quest to get you know, second chance at that, you know, at getting that first place prize. So it's really kind of a different lesson thing. I'm really not sure if we've had a lesson specifically like this. I mean, it's kind of a common feeling type of lesson, but I don't know if it's ever been directly addressed in this show before. So, you know, but at the very least, even if it has somewhere along the way, you know, additional reminders are always great, because, you know, so how many of us actually, you know, like I've said this back in Spice Up Your Life, I think, with Rarity, because, like, oh, she should have learned that lesson already. Well, again, how many lessons do we need to learn and relearn again, because we keep sliding back to our old habits and old ways and stuff? So need those reminders to keep us on track sometimes. So anyway, I said, overall, you know, great fun episode. You know, the predictability, you know, dragged it down a little bit. The song raised it right back up again, in my opinion. So I'm really not going to try and give this a rating or anything, because it's all entirely subjective, but definitely some good rewatch value in this, I would say. So, oh, yeah, I had just one other random thought here. Rainbow Dash in that trunk, all the stuff she was throwing out of there, like, maybe it's just me, but that seemed really weird. Like, Rainbow Dash doesn't strike me as the type to keep a collection of old miscellaneous items in a trunk stashed in a corner like that. It just doesn't seem like her. I mean, it looks like it could have been items that had, you know, sentimental value to her or something. That the banner is interesting that she kept that banner from her birthniversary back in Pinkie Pie. That was interesting. And then, yeah, she had a trophy of some sort in there. I'm guessing that trophy was from a previous episode. I just honestly don't remember which one. That wasn't... She didn't get that back in Sonic Rainbow, did she? I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. But yeah, I just think... Oh, and then, yeah, it never dawned on me while watching this episode, the question of, like, how the heck did Scootaloo get up to Dash's house? And then as I was chatting with somebody before doing this commentary, I realized, oh yeah, there's a she took Twilight's hot air balloon up there. That was parked outside right before it cut to the scene where she was inside talking to Dash. So that explains that. Ah, poor Scootaloo. But anyway, wow, this got to be a really long commentary again. So yeah, sorry about that, but that's all I had to say on this one. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode with me here. And yeah, as always, looking forward to the next episode next week. And sorry again for getting this up late, but it's a blast doing it. And I will see you again very soon, hopefully. Later.